What's up, good people? You got Lavelle here, aka Vell, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So I'm sure that many of you have heard the sibling rivalry that is slowly brewing between Wendy Williams and her brother Tommy Williams. There was already speculation that the mere fact that he had started a YouTube channel as well as a podcast might potentially be an issue for Wendy Williams, and I think having a family member who now has public exposure and people have access to them and the interworkings of their family, well, many of us knew in the very beginning that this would potentially be a big issue for the entertainment media mogul Wendy Williams, who's used to having the spotlight on her as well as being able to control the narrative regarding her and her family. Wendy is also considered to be notorious when it comes to anything or anyone that she feels like is potential competition for her. And I feel like her brother is falling slowly into that category. It started recently with the passing of their mother, Shirley Williams. Well, Wendy Williams did address the passing of her mother with her audience, and she shared that her mother had passed many weeks ago. However, Tommy also shared that information on his YouTube channel, where he revealed, unbeknownst to Wendy's announcement, when exactly his mom had passed, and it had only been 1 week and not many weeks. And if you want to get more details on that, check out my previous video in the card above. Now, some in our comments section has speculated that maybe to Wendy, her mom had passed many weeks ago because maybe she was ill, and in the physical sense she may have been here, but maybe spiritually or the way that she had known her mom personality wise was no longer there for many weeks. That we don't know because they didn't share any details of her actual cause of death with the public. Nevertheless, at this point it is very clear that Tommy and Wendy Williams are dealing with their grief of the passing of their mother very differently. Tommy did a live video on Saturday morning on his YouTube channel where he was expressing how he had a heavy heart and he was really dealing with the emotional grief of his mom passing, and he felt really unsupported and alone as it pertained to his siblings.
I really didn't sleep last night. Last night was a rough one for me. I've been going through so many things, with emotions and stuff, and how many of you all have siblings out there? Siblings, and talk about how you all move through this process, because I could use some advice actually. I'm beating around the bush, man. I'll tell you, it's been hard, it's been difficult, it's been rough. Family doesn't always do what you would believe that should be done, and I try to work and grapple through why. What would make somebody not go to their own mother's funeral? I don't understand how a person can miss out on giving a salute to the one person who was always there. I don't understand how a person cannot go to a funeral and hold up the one person or the family member that you do have, the parent that you do have left, and just move on and keep it moving. I don't understand that. I don't understand how to keep loving somebody who could cause that kind of pain.
Tommy went on to share that he was specifically troubled and disappointment with his sister Wendy and how she had dealt with the passing of his mom. He then shared that although Wendy had flew into Florida, she did not stay for her mom's funeral and instead said that she was flying back home after the visitation. Well, he later found out that she actually was still in town the day of his mom's funeral and had chosen instead to spend time with her ex-husband and go out to eat. Tommy stated that he felt like Wendy had just moved on as if nothing ever happened. Tommy was also understandably upset because he felt like the funeral was really a time for them to come together as siblings to hold their father up after losing his wife of over 60 years, I think. He said instead, the night of the funeral, while he was comforting his father and trying to make sure he was taken care of and eating, he instead got a call from Wendy's ex-husband stating, "Oh, we heard you have a YouTube channel. What's up with that?" Tommy was grieved by that in the moment because he felt like that wasn't really an appropriate time to get into that discussion. On top of that, he found out that Wendy was still in town and had elected to go out to lunch with her ex-husband versus attending her mom's funeral, and obviously was having a discussion and watching Tommy's YouTube video. Tommy basically is saying that Wendy has been treating the passing of their mom like their father has also passed away too. And he alluded to conversations with his father recently where his father's obviously feeling neglected by Wendy as well. He stated that his father watches the Wendy Williams show every day, just like he used to do with his wife, and he still loves and champions his daughter, but it seems as though his daughter is not really there for him in the same way. Tommy stated that basically the way that he's feeling, he can't even bring himself to watch the show anymore. Now, so far, Wendy Williams has been quiet when it comes to all of this. However, she did do an interview on Extra a few days ago promoting her new documentary and movie that will be premiering on Lifetime on January the 30th. In her interview, she shared about her sexual assault with R&B singer Sharik. She talked about her drug use, her previous issues with her body image. She also shared about her marriage with Kelvin and spoke about how he cheated on her while she was pregnant with her son. She said that at that point, she knew that her marriage was not till death do us part. She was very open and honest about the fact that her ex-husband, Kelvin, was a serial cheater, and she said that he basically had a mistress for every area of his life. However, even with that, she said that she doesn't regret her first date with him or even marrying him. And she stated that she does not regret hiring the best divorce attorney to get her everything that she deserved out of her divorce decree. Although she had to fight tooth and nail to get it. She admitted that she had not blocked his phone number, and he's still able to call and text her, which she says he occasionally does. That's obviously not a surprise to us at this point, because we found out that they went out to lunch a month or so ago during her mother's funeral. Now, it was stated during the interview that 80% of this documentary is going to be her dragging Kelvin and being very open and honest about their situation. And we can expect to see her crying and also getting very angry when discussing him. So basically, this interview just got me even more excited to see what new information we're gonna get from this and the details, the nuances of what was happening behind closed doors. We already know a lot of his shenanigans in those streets was already out there, rumors, etc. So it's not really a surprise that he was a serial cheater. We all knew it, as much as she would deny it to us, and even going as far as to say on her show, everything is okay in Hunterville. We all knew that that was not the case, but you know, we just didn't know if she was just okay with it. That was really the difference, because we all knew he was no good. But even with that, now I'm wondering how much will the documentary cover her family and how she was raised and her relationships with her siblings and her parents, because obviously there's unfortunately some cracks there. I'm hoping there are cracks that can be healed and glued together with some super glue. However, that is yet to be seen, especially with the state of everything and Tommy's YouTube channel and the fact that he's very open and sharing with his audience, which I'm frequently a part of. Having a bit more perspective on Tommy as a person through watching his frequent lives on a daily basis, I definitely see his heart behind his question of why his older sister would not attend their mother's funeral and be there with the family with such a loss, and even through the struggle be there for their father. I get why he would be hurt over that. However, with that, I also can understand the perspective of Wendy, who may not have been able to cope with the passing of her mother in quite the same way. Funerals for some people are just too much of an emotional toll from a mental health perspective, and we do know that Wendy has struggled over the past few years, especially with the foolishness she dealt with Kelvin. We know that she struggled with mental health issues and substance, abuse and things of that nature. And so maybe she knew in her mind and in her heart that no matter how much she loved her mother or loves her mother, that she could not take it to that level and see her in that state. And for some people, that's not the last memory that they want to have of their parents. Personally, as a person who recently lost my father, I understand it 1,000,000% where Wendy might have been coming from. If I could have avoided my father's funeral, I would have. Did I want to? Was I thinking of ways that I could possibly do it? Yes, absolutely. However, unlike Wendy, the only thing that made me attend my father's funeral was other people, was the fact that I felt I needed to be there for my mother. Pretty much that was it. Just to be there for my mother. I know other people were there, but it was through the pandemic, so it was just an abbreviated version of everything. But that was a very hard position to be in. I just wanted it to be over. From the moment of starting the planning to going through all of the motions to driving home afterwards, I just wanted it to be over. So if I were in a position like Wendy, I think I still would have forced myself to go, but I wasn't doing it for me. I didn't need that. And everyone doesn't need that. Everyone grieves differently. And I think we have to do better at giving grace for that. Many of us walk through life doing a lot of things that we don't want to do, that are not good for our spirit or our mental health, just to appease other people. And in the end, we suffer. And so we have to be conscious of that as people who are putting demands on loved ones even. And with that being said, I do feel like there should be some level of balance in Wendy taking care of her mental health. If she is, as it's been alluded to, kind of abandoning her father through this experience, I think that's an area where she definitely needs to self-examine and reconsider her actions, because her father is older and he's also in his sunset years, and he's dealing with, I'm sure, his greatest loss of his lifetime. So I feel like there needs to be some balance of her mental health or whatever she's dealing with, and balancing the needs of it, if no one else, her father. And as far as Tommy, I get where he's at. He's dealing with the 7 stages of grief, as we all do when it comes to traumatic events in our lives. And the 7 stages of grief include denial, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and anger. And anger, I think, is the stage of grief that Tommy is in at this point. And it's a part of the process. And we all deal with that anger differently. Some get angry at God for the situation they've been in. Some get angry at the person who's passed away or whatever the traumatic event was. And others find other people to be angry with. And I feel like at this point, Tommy is directing some of that anger towards Wendy and her behavior during this process, for better or for worse. And it's understandable because it's hurtful and it's in a way that he cannot understand dealing with grief. So with that, I'm really hoping for healing in their family. We all know that Wendy's a private person. I'm hoping that Tommy begins to perfect the balancing of the inner circle kind of information and things versus those things that he shares with us as his audience, because I do love the fact that you watch his channel and he's very relatable and open and interesting and all of that. However, I feel like as a public figure, it is very important, especially a public figure who is related to a huge public figure, it's important for him to balance that inner circle information, that family business, and figure out a way to share without sharing, without sharing too much, because we do not want their family situation or family dynamic to dissolve any more than maybe it already has at this point. Because a person in Wendy's position who has been famous for decades, they begin to retreat and build a very tight inner circle around them, no matter the blood relation or anything of that sort. And I get it, because many of them have very tragic stories of the people that were closest to them being the ones who hurt them the most, damage their image, or try to bring them down, or create lives of jealousy, etc. So I get why that happens. I don't feel like Tommy's that kind of person, but I feel like he may be a little too open for comfort when it comes to Wendy Williams and her brand. So with that, if you've made it to this point in the video, let me know by commenting below. Life is not about me, it is about we. Yes, because the truth is, life is not just about us. So even with what I said, me personally, I could not make the passing of my father only about me. I did in as many ways as I possibly could, but there came a point when I had to make it about the we factor. And it's the same with you in your life, and Wendy and Tommy. I feel like for both of them, there's room for them to not make it just about them. With Wendy deciding not to attend the funeral, of course she made it about her primarily, but in that she didn't consider the we factor. Maybe she could have stayed back at the house and been with the family that evening and bonded with them and been supportive of her family. Or even after the fact, maybe made some time to spend with her father while she was on her break from her show. And even with Tommy, the we part of it is also being mindful that his sister Wendy is going through her very own stages of grief. She's already recently had the mental health issues and medical issues and things of that nature. And so giving her that same level of grace when it comes to the we. Yes, he's concerned overall with the we of his father and his family as a whole, but there's also the me of him looking at it from his perspective of how he's grieving and his expectations of what grief should look like and how you should be and treat family during that time. And I get it, and I also agree with him on a lot of levels. However, we also have to give people grace for how they deal with their own journey of grief. So with that, if you're new to this channel or not new and you just have not subscribed as of yet, this will be a great time for you to subscribe below and comment below that you're a new subscriber so that I can properly welcome you into the EOV subscriber family. Also, if you're already a part of the subscriber family, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.